So I've been very honoured to be asked to do this painting by Stephen and young Nell about 2 weeks ago. Not as much time as I'd like to have had, but there was no real thought put into it at all. It was basically just, I was delighted to see the recognition of Big Doc as a Choctadala and delighted to contribute this. Plagiarised Robert Balla's idea, obviously, which he had used the lily coming out of the concrete block. The beauty can come out of horrible things. Whereas in the north, he represented that in West Belfast, coming out of the deaths of the two corporals in 1988 to become what was probably one of the biggest festivals in Europe. I think that, again, what those 10 young men contributed, put into our lives and the change that they've brought, where we now have people in suits here that represented us and promote our ideals.
This is a very special event for all of us, particularly who are giving service to the Republican cause here in the Houses of the Oireachtas, serving our respective constituents, serving the cause that we have committed our life's path to, and the politics that we espouse. I'm particularly very proud to be associated with this event as the Director of Elections for Kieran Doherty that saw his historic election back 35 years ago in 1981. I remember those days, and I know that for the greater number of our team here today, they weren't even born at that time, and there is a story to be told, and for those of us who are older in terms of life's experience, we have a duty and a responsibility to pass on what we have known, what we have experienced personally, and the impacts and the influences on our lives. The influence of Bobby Sands and of Kieran Doherty and of each of their comrades in Long Kesh and the hunger strikers of the previous year in Long Kesh and Armagh Women's Jail, they were huge impacts on my political consciousness and development as a political activist. I would have it to say that I think it's also very appropriate when we remember that Bobby Sands, MP, to me, Bobby Sands, TD, Kieran Doherty, TD, both of whom gave their young lives 35 years ago. And to recall that yesterday, 96 years ago, the very first TD who died on hunger strike gave his life in Brixton Prison in London, Terence McSweeney. These three are already commemorated on the Sinn Féin floor here in Leinster House in a joint portrait of the three of them. And it is a daily reminder, not only to me, but to all of our team, of the great and wonderful commitment that people who have gone before us have demonstrated, the willingness on their part to provide and give of their all. Today we are only invited, asked to give of our energies and talents, not to risk our life, our limb, or our liberty. And I think it is so encouraging for me, particularly as the first participatory Sinn Féin TD here in modern times, to see at this point in my service such a very talented, committed, and clearly tenacious new generation of young Republicans taking up these positions. When I think back to my first term of service as a lone Dáil deputy with one support staff member, Micheál McDonagh, I know very well that leaving here 14 years ago through the gates to face into the 2002 general election, if I were to say in 14 years' time there'd be 22 more TDs, there'd be 7 senators, and there'd be an even larger number of support staff with all of the tremendous talents and skills that they've been blessed, I know that the Republican struggle, the struggle for which Terence McSweeney, Bobby Sands and Kieran Doherty gave their lives and all who stood with them, is in very safe hands going forward.